next. Welcome to Bearman Crypto, where we talk all things crypto. So, the AIPAD IDO happened today. Very eventful. If you were involved, there was ups and there was downs. There was some people that were very disappointed in terms of the allocation. As I had said before, that the allocation in these IDOs, particularly with such a low market cap and low supply, the allocation tends to be extremely low. So I was taking part in the Meta VPAD specific IDO, and the allocation there again seemed very low in some people's eyes. I think the bottom tier with 30,000 staked got around $3. The middle tier got about $11, and I think some of the upper tiers got in the region of about $22. So it doesn't sound like a great deal, but what you have to remember is the tokens haven't listed yet. So as you can see here, we've got the launch happening in literally about just over 10 hours. This is when we really find out how this token is going to perform. Of course, anything I talk about in this video is not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you what I'm looking at and just sharing with you my thoughts on the matter. Again, I am not an expert at this. I don't know. I know as much as anyone else. So obviously make sure you do your own further research before investing any of your money in anything that I do talk about. So we can see here in terms of when the token goes live in just over 10 hours, where it's going to be listed. So one of the big things to note is it's going to be listed first on a centralized exchange. And the specific centralized exchange it's going to be listed on is a fairly big one in my eyes, on KuCoin. So there's going to be a lot of potential liquidity inflow where people try to basically buy this token fairly quick. So a bit like if you're in the IDO today, you would have seen, particularly with the first come first serve for the balance of the remaining tokens during the IDO, they basically get front run massively by bots. A lot of the IDO first come first serve basically sold out in, it felt like literally 2 seconds it was gone. So there's a lot of bots operating in the background, so that's just something you have to watch out for. So when it launches specifically on this centralized exchange, given the level of the size of the exchange, this is gonna pump out the blocks. I would imagine instantly this will be above $2 in my eyes, I think, and then it will probably potentially start pumping from there. And then the launch on DEXs, so on PancakeSwap and Uniswap, delayed for 15 and 30 minutes respectively. So obviously the priority seems to be on the centralized exchange. So once the tokens are live, I think we can then really start to see this price pump. And again, this is going to be one of those things. Is going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride. We could see the price absolutely rip. I don't know, this could pump up to about $6 and then massively drop down again. So that's just something to watch out for, that you don't FOMO in and start potentially buying the top. Because there's going to be a lot of bots in operation, buying and selling fairly quickly. So that is just something to be very careful about, something to watch out for specifically. We can see now AIPAD is heavily promoting the fact that they're launching on KuCoin. If we think about the other launch pads in terms of Meta VPAD, BSCPad, ETHPad, GameZone, they haven't launched on a big exchange such as KuCoin. I think the biggest any of these launch pads are listed on is Gate.io, which is fairly big, but I think KuCoin is bigger. So this is going to generate a hell of a lot of additional liquidity inflows. And obviously the plan is that within 48 hours of listing, they're then going to release this another project that will basically be launching on specifically AIPAD. We can see here they've been releasing a bit more information about the sort of gamification that they want to introduce with AIPAD, and it's quite interesting actually. In terms of this gamification, it's based around token holding, and specifically the duration that you hold the token for then qualifies you for specific tiers and potential lottery tickets. So we can see here in terms of they'll be taking snapshots over a 21-day period and then applying specific multipliers along the way. So I think what they're trying to do here is to basically incentivize people to hold the token and basically not dump it. So it basically have a bit of a pump and dump. So they're encouraging holders to hold it, and then that gets you access to specific projects that will list on AIPAD or launch on AIPAD, so to speak. So it's going to be interesting to see if that concept does play out and work well for the project. Who knows? We just have to wait and see. So I'm not sure this will prevent any big pump and dumps tomorrow, because I think we'll definitely see some. So that's just something to watch out for. And obviously we've talked about previously in my other videos in terms of the specific tokenomics around the project. We can see here in terms of tokenomics, in terms of allocation around the ecosystem, team advisors, reserve, liquidity, staking, seed, and public. And then obviously there's an element of airdrop. So out of all these tiers, we can see here specifically that the ones that are going to be vested over a period of time is going to be the private and public sales, which will be 10% at token generation event, which is basically tomorrow, and then there'll be a 1 month cliff where all the rest of the remaining tokens will vest over a 9-month period. So these ones, such as the liquidity, this is where the liquidity will sit for things like KuCoin and PancakeSwap. But then you can see here the team and advisors will basically be free to sell their tokens potentially from the outset. I'm not quite sure if there's a specific separate vesting schedule for those. So obviously they'll be free to potentially sell their tokens. Whether they sell them or not will remain to be seen. If they're optimistic about the project, maybe potentially they don't sell their tokens and just hold on to them. So at the moment it's difficult to see, to gauge how it's going to happen, but pump and dumps with these type of things will always happen. So that's just something to watch out for. And just be careful again that you're not buying the top. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, that we can now see that the Launchpad tokens are now suffering as a result. So we can see here MetaVPad down 23%. Over the 7-day period, it's down 63%. So again, people were initially speculating and buying MetaVPad to get into the specific IDO, and might not have got into the IDO. So again, selling pressure. And you can see here BSCPad, again, similar, 10-11% down. Over the 7-day period, it's down 31%. So not as bad as we've seen on MetaVPad. And on ETHPad, that's down 40%. And again, over 7-day period, down 57%. So not, again, massive. So GameZone, lastly, we can see here GameZone is down 28%. And over the 7-day period, down 41%. So these Launchpad tokens have suffered. But then again, you have to be careful. At some stage, there'll be other projects that will launch on these. I don't know if they'll create the same hype as AIPAD, but then again, these tokens will now experience a lot of selling pressure over the next few days and weeks to come. So that's just something to watch out for if you're still holding any of these tokens. But that's all I wanted to share with you in this video. Less than 10 hours from the big day, and we'll see how many X we get out of this bad boy. And hopefully it is all positive. But that's all I want to share with you in this video, and I shall see you in my next video.